When are you going to give us the countdown?
He did it.
Hey, welcome to the Reverend and Reprobate Live. Go get your coffee.
No, I don't want to.
You think about everything after you needed to have
we're
thought
live.
about it. Yeah, I know. You can go get your coffee live if you need to.
I'm not going to do that.
If it's that big a deal. Hey, everybody, welcome to the Reverend and the Reprobate Live at 5 at 4:43. We're still getting the hang of this time thing. Ever since the time change, we've been a little off. Just a little off.
And also, time in general is a difficult concept.
Sure it is. Yeah.
There's different parts of the country and the world. They're in different time zones.
And Christopher Nolan certainly doesn't understand it.
Arizona changes.
Or doesn't.
Yeah, that's what it is.
Yeah.
It changes and then it doesn't.
And there's
we all change.
The time zone that Adelaide, Australia is in is actually a half hour different than the time zones to their east and west, respectively.
Fascinating.
Mm-hmm.
Well, what are we doing today?
We're going to talk about your hand.
Oh, yeah.
So we're going to do some quick personal updates. Dan Lee got into a fight with an urukai and got a little bit of the old dark juice on him, and
had to burn it off.
Yeah,
so I didn't turn into one.
We thought he was going to turn, but we're lucky he didn't. I valiantly offered to chop off his arm at the hand, and then Kirsten reminded me it needed to be at the elbow. And when she picked up the axe and went for it, it was Cale, actually, who got on his saxophone, played Silent Whisper, and was able to stop the spread of the infection. So tell us what actually happened to your hand.
Well, it's a really dumb thing, but I was lighting a chimenea.
We're here for it.
Yeah, I know. It was several stupid things I did at once. Lighting a chimenea. I used lighter fluid. I was out of my typical, I use these tumbleweeds.
The tumbleweeds, yeah.
So I bought lighter fluid. I was quickly, again, very stupid, sprayed it inside of the chimenea, which you're not supposed to do. But
why not?
Because of this, I think. The lid was on, and I used a small lighter instead of, one with I don't know what that little long neck piece is called, but the safety few inches. The few inches of safety that it provides, I could have used because it scorched my hand, and it's getting better. But
I've got to admit, it's getting better. It's getting better all the time. Is it easy to play guitar like that, or is it painful?
Not really.
Yeah,
because if the underhand was burned, that might be impactful, or the side.
But you don't do a lot of picking very often.
And I can move my fingers, so it's not like it's really... Yeah. It's a little uncomfortable.
It does have a bit of a gnarly look to it, but...
Yeah. Looks like Deadpool.
It's yeah.
Heather said that. Or no, I said, you know what this looks like? This looks like Deadpool's hand. And my wife, Heather, said, I've thought that for a little while, but I didn't want to tell you because I didn't want it to,
go to your
become
head.
A thing. But yeah, I have Deadpool's hand, and that's kind of cool. That's the only silver lining for me. So that being said,
and I'm glad that you said it and she didn't, because it's like you often say, women have to have their egos kept in check. It's an actual quote from about 30 seconds before we went live.
We don't want them getting too confident.
Yeah, we don't want them getting too confident. I don't understand the reason why. I'm not going to argue it, but yeah.
It's just best for everybody.
So we both ended up going to a Stars game last night. That was exciting. First Stars game of the season. They won against the Phoenix Coyotes.
Oh, yeah. We sent them Coyotes limping back home to Arizona.
Yeah, we did. So we won against the Phoenix Coyotes 4-1, which was really exciting. We had a very interesting night, and it sounds like yours was relatively uneventful.
Tell me,
outside of the game.
Yeah, ours was great.
Would you like to know what happened?
Cool. Yeah, that's what I say. Ours was cool. Yours was
bizarre.
Very bizarre.
Yes, so Dan Lee, the aforementioned reprobate, had invited me to come to the game. We were going to do a guys' night. It was going to be me, you, your son, and our producer, Colton.
You better tell the story right. You better not throw me under the bus.
I am. Just wait.
Okay.
If you've been, there's a lot of ways I could have just gone with that. So you invited us all to the game. And then Colton was like, "No, I don't like sports." And then we were like,
"Look, food for my daddy."
And then we're like, "Hey, it's not sports. You're going to be hanging out with the dudes." And he was like, "No, that's worse." So we were like, "Okay, Colton's not coming." And so I asked you. I was like, "So we're going to do date night?" Thinking that it would be my wife and me and your wife and you. And then you send me back a message, and I was like, "Okay, so who's coming?" And you said H.
This is before. You said date night.
K. No, it's not, because I can pull out the text messages and show you. You said H.
We'll put it up in post.
okay, there's no post on this. You and me. And so I read that to say Heather, Kirsten, you and me. And I was like, oh, okay, sweet.
Which in retrospect, that's probably the right way to read it.
Yeah.
It's not what I intended, but it makes complete sense.
Right, because we oftentimes call my wife Kay versus Kirsten just because so many people can't pronounce it, i.e. my producer and also the man who married us who called her Christian, Kirsten, and Kirsty, I think, during our wedding. But anyway, it doesn't really matter. The paperwork's all official. So when I got that message, I told Kirsten, I was like, hey, we got tickets to the game. It's going to be awesome. She's so excited. We're going to go on Monday night. She's like, great. I'm getting off work early. This will be perfect. And then I read the message again, and I was like, hey, to clarify.
Can you confirm?
Yeah, to
Who's
clarify.
Kay?
So this is on Friday night. To clarify, who's Kay? And you said Kale. I was like, okay. So it'd be one thing for me to step away from the house to be like, hey, we're having a guys' night. We're all going to the Stars game. It's something totally different to say.
Want to go to the Stars game?
Hey,
never mind. You're out.
I'm going to the Stars game with Danley's family. Have fun at home with the cat. You know,
there's some dishes too.
Yeah, enjoy the chickens for whatever they're doing on Monday night. So I was like, no, that's not going to work. So the day before, on Thursday, a buddy of mine who works for the Dallas Stars had sent me a message. He was like, hey, I can get you tickets to whatever game you want. Coming up, I was like, okay. So I explained the situation to him. I was like, would love to go on Monday night. He's like, great. So Saturday morning, all that gets squared away. We're back on for going on Monday night. You'd been very gracious, gave us a parking pass, so that we could have it. So we were going to get to park for free, which was we were really excited about. So we go all day Saturday, Sunday, thinking we got all this stuff squared away. Monday, I shoot him a message, and he said, hey, I'm really sorry. It was a very unexpected. His brother, who was in his early 40s, had a heart attack either late Sunday night or early Monday morning.
Dang.
Had passed away, so he wasn't going into the office. I was like, obviously, I'm not going to be like, well, go. You need to go get my dang tickets. But he heartbreaking loss for their family. So he was like, hey, look, this isn't something I know if I'm going to be able to do. I was like, obviously, go be with your family, do whatever you need to do. We'll figure it out. Well, that happened while Kirsten was at work. So I was looking at tickets. There were tickets that were like $7 or $10 just in the nosebleeds. I was like, we got a great parking pass. We'll just go to the game anyway. So I picked Kay up from work. She doesn't read any of those text messages, or else she's like, I would have stayed at work and like been whatever. So I was like, nah, we're in the car. Let's go.
Yeah.
So we head down and we find some tickets online, but they're resale tickets, and so they're outside of the delivery period. Because there's like a very limited delivery window day of for resale tickets, whether you buy from Ticketmaster, StubHub, or whatever. They've got to be purchased within a certain amount of time of the game starting, because that person has to transfer the tickets to Ticketmaster or StubHub, and then they have to transfer them to you, and it's a whole like thing. And oftentimes it takes a couple of hours in order for that to happen. So I just told her, like, look, we'll look at the box office. So we get to the box office. Well, they found the tickets that we were looking at the box office, but instead of them being like $40 or $50 a piece, which we were like, you know what, it's a date night, we just won't get anything to eat or drink while we're here, we'll just call it that. Mm-hmm. They were like $90 a piece. So we're like, is there anything, at all that you can do? She's like, no, like the next thing is the nosebleeds. And I was like, all right, well, let's take a step. Let's walk. I mean, we're in downtown. We're parking for free. Do we want to have dinner? Do we want to go to the game? Because we can watch it. There's tons of places where we can go get a nice steak, and
they've got the plaza out front, and
and watch the game at the same time. Mm-hmm. So that's no big deal. So we were like, all right, we'll think about it. Well, as we walk away, this guy asks us, he's like, hey, did you guys just buy tickets? Do you need tickets? And we're like, yeah, we need tickets. And he goes, you didn't just buy them? We're like, no, we didn't. There was a whole thing, but we ended up not buying the tickets. He goes, okay, I'm going to make your night. And I was like, all right. He goes, do you want me to make your night? I was like, sure, make our night. I'm looking at Kirsten, I'm like, what the heck is going on? Yeah. And he says, I've got 2 tickets. They're 5 rows up on the defensive end of the glass behind the goalie. What do you think, $20 a piece? We were like, absolutely, heck yes. Yeah, $20 a piece, we're in. And he's like, all right, follow me. So we followed this guy named Devin and his mother, Charlie, and we're just chatting about everything,
And they had the seats adjourning to yours? Or adjoining to yours, next to you?
No, they had the two in front of us. So they have the two aisle seats in front of us, and then the two that we were in.
Well, that's a steal. $20 a ticket right behind the net.
Yeah, so we were like, absolutely, like those tickets
you get to
are
harass the
hundreds
goalie.
of dollars.
You get to see if he'll react.
Yeah, but it was mostly our goalie who was down, right? We're the defensive end of the ice, right? So we don't want to harass
for one period.
Holt B.
For one period.
So we get to the seats, and they're stellar seats. This guy walks in, he's waving to the security guard. He's like, "Hey, what's up, Elvis?" And he gets to his section, and the people that are, helping people to their seats, like wave at him, shake his hand, say hi to his mom, give her a hug, and he walks us down to the seat. So, he's a known guy here. And so he says, they've had these season tickets for a while. Like, that's stellar. Thank you so much for doing that. And he's like, actually, there was somebody else who was supposed to get these tickets, and they never texted me back, so I'm happy to whatever. So at the end of the first period, I got up, ran to the little hockey players' room, and while I get up to go, Kirsten and him start talking. He's like, "Look, I just want to give you these tickets.
Yeah.
My mom and I were talking. This is a family thing for us. It's your first hockey game.
$40 probably isn't going to put him in the red.
Yeah, he's like, it's your first hockey game at the AAC.
Yeah.
Like, we can just call this a Christmas present. Like, these are just for y'all. Like, incredibly sweet.
And this is why Christmas is the best time of the year.
Yeah, no doubt. So, not to like over spiritualize it, but God kind of just opens up this doors for us to have this. What we thought was going to be free date night turns into a free date night. So, we're sitting there.
Does this happen to non-pastors? This is the question.
Yeah, probably. If it does, text us. Let us know. So about 2/3 of the way through the second period, this guy walks beside me, and I don't really see him really well, but I see him good enough, and I'm like, what? He looks super familiar. I wonder. This can't be who I think it is. Because he's an older guy with a mohawk. I'm like, who does that? And he's got this tattoo that's like right here on his head. And I was like, you know what? I recognize that. And so I look it up and I show Kirsten my phone. I was like, the guy that just walked past us is
and sitting
UFC,
a few rows in front of us.
Yeah, is UFC Hall of Famer, the Iceman, Chuck Liddell himself. She's like, oh my gosh. Okay, so first let me just say this. It was awesome to be right there with the guy.
Yeah.
He's way bigger than you think that he is, because when he's in the octagon with all of these other folks, he does not look like just the beast.
Well, he's got that concave chest. Like, he's got something. I remember.
I would never say that to him.
Well, he's not here. You're acting like I just
Chuck, I'm sorry.
Like I just threw down the gauntlet with him.
I wouldn't.
I was
do
thinking
that.
he has a concave chest. Like he's got a little. Go ahead with the story.
I thought Chuck Liddell was lovely, and that's what the story is from this point on. Is that the stars put on my camera? Well, people start to figure out what section he's in, and so there's this line that forms in the section. Not only did he not turn away one person that wanted to have their picture made with him, he's smiling the whole time. He's in a bunch of Stars gear because he's apparently a big Stars fan.
Does he live locally?
I don't know, but the person right behind him, we found out that was wearing an Antoine Roussel jersey is apparently
Antoine Rousseau.
It's his mom.
Oh, okay.
So she was at the game in his French national jersey, which was really cool. So anyway, so Chuck Liddell's right in front of her. He's just taking pictures with everybody. Anybody he takes a picture with, he takes a second to talk to him. The game that he paid to be at to watch, right? He's not even going to watch it because people are interrupting him while, not just at the stoppages, but during play. He's taking pictures with everybody. Finally, the security guard comes down.
So you're saying he's a pushover? I would never say that about him.
I think he's like the friendliest dude ever. Like just the genuine classy MMA guy, which we have come to kind of expect from a lot of these MMA fighters.
Yeah.
Is that they really are great with the fans. So the security guard separates all the people and tells them
Tito Ortiz.
Then they tell them they got to go back. So they walk back. Chuck's friends kind of like stick him in the middle now so that he's harder to get to, but that does not stop the belligerent, Stars fan who wants to get their picture made with him. He does this all the way through the second period, the entirety of the third period, and just like super nice. Long story short, after 50 minutes, the Stars kicked in a goal. The goal got disallowed, and what was a 1-1 game turned into 4-1 in the last 10
minutes. He hopped the glass and went and punched the ref.
About 3 minutes before the game ended, because he would not stop taking pictures with people, the security guard escorts him to the concourse so that he can take pictures with people, because he knows the game's ending and doesn't want there to be a crowd. So the security guard escorts him to the concourse. He fist bumps us on the way back. Like, we didn't get a picture, but I did get a fist bump from Chuck Liddell, which is pretty cool.
Pretty solid.
Yeah, I'll take that. And up he went, and my wife and I took a great
Me
picture.
too. That's what happened.
That's what you fist bumped Chuck Liddell,
Yeah.
and he burned you.
Yeah,
it's an ice burn. You got frostbite from the Iceman. My wife and I took a great.
Good joke.
Thanks. My wife and I took a really cool picture with Devin and Charlie, the couple that gave us the tickets. So we go home. My gas light dings as we're leaving the garage, but we're going down this road.
Well, so this
story is not over.
Hasn't it concluded?
Yeah. So we're on our way home. The gas light dings, but we're in a place that I'm not going to stop at 10 p.m. to get gas. It's just not a great neighborhood right outside of downtown Dallas. We're on Harry Hines. If you're familiar with the area, you know.
It's very famous for a couple of things.
Yeah. A lot of folks were walking the street. We'll leave it there. So we end up on the highway. Kirsten mentions to me, hey, should we stop and get gas? I'm like, yeah. And I'm kind of looking at where we're at. I'm like, we need to go a little further down the road. So I take this exit once we kind of get closer to home.
You literally got as far down the road as you could.
Yeah, I literally did. So we take this exit, which is like near the house. And so normally what I do is anytime I refill, I reset the odometer. Kirsten refilled the gas tank last and did not reset the odometer. And so there's like this, what I have in my head is like these 5 miles of kind of play, right?
I play with those miles too.
Yeah. Well, I didn't realize, or I didn't remember that I had reset the odometer after we had gotten the car back to the house from the gas station. So that 5 miles of play really turned into more like 0.5 miles of play, right? Don't mishear me. I'm not blaming this on my wife. This is totally my mistake. But as I'm calculating things in my head, my calculations were off from an error that I knew occurred, right? So let me just be very clear about that. Right, from an error that I knew occurred.
You are very well covered.
I take the exit.
You're covered.
To get onto.
Plus, she's not
onto
listening.
Main Street. Yeah, no doubt. To get onto Main Street, and as I'm coming off the exit, the light that we need to get at is at the top of a hill. As I take the exit, we're losing power.
Yeah,
and we're just not going at all. Kirsten's like, "What's happening?"
How much you hate Harry?
And I was like, "We are coasting right now." She's like, "Are we out of gas?" It's like, I am out of gas. You apparently have plenty of fuel because I'm about to just get the fire right on me.
Yeah.
So we pull into a hospital parking lot because that's what's there and what's closed because there's no way this car's making it up the hill. I get out. I push the car into the parking lot. She drives it and coasts us in. And there's a guy that runs across the parking lot. And as he's running across the parking lot, he's like, "Oh, okay, you got it. Like, sorry, I was going to help you. Did the car break down?" I was like, "Nah, I ran it out of gas." He's like, "Oh, you know what? Why don't you hop in the car with me and my wife, and we'll get you over to the gas station."
Yeah.
It's like, okay. So we hop in the car with them. They said they've been sitting outside the ER for a little while, and they're just trying to get up the courage to go in. I was like, well, what's going on? And he's like, well, I've got something I need to get checked out. And I'm not going to share all of his story, but the immediate thing whenever he says that is like, okay, what we thought was like, maybe this cool moment of like God brought us these people so that we weren't like walking across, we don't now have to trudge a mile in the cold to get gas.
Right.
We get to come back. I was like, well, maybe that's it. Like, that's really exciting. That's not something we're going to have to do. And then he starts talking. I'm like, oh, well, maybe what this is now we're in a capsule with somebody that's going to have like, Vibrio vulnificus. Yeah. Like, we're in here with a guy with a flesh-eating bacteria now.
Yeah.
Turns out it's something like completely different than that. We get gas in a little canister.
I've been trying to get the nerve to go in and get my meningitis fixed.
Yeah. So we get it all squared away, and actually got the opportunity to pray with Alex and Amy, his wife, about some anxiety that he has concerning hospitals and an ailment that he has. So we would tell you to continue to pray for them. So even in this situation where like we had this really incredible night, got there, now we're out of gas, totally my fault, but like God used it for this opportunity for us to do some cool ministry. Then we get get back in the car, turn the car on, drive to the gas station, and immediately call you to inform you about our night because you hung up on me as soon as your mother-in-law started talking. Fill me in. Fill me in on what happened earlier in the evening. I think that's about it. I think that's as far as we need to go down that road.
Yeah.
Yeah. Cool.
Yeah. I'm gonna stop it there, but I do want to go back to.
I'm gonna stop it there.
Let's analyze this and sum it up with what's the moral of your story in particular, because yours has several really cool elements. Like I think don't give up on in the moment having a fun time.
Yeah.
Because it would have been just as easy to go, tickets fell through, let's just stay home and watch the game, or stay home and make, it would have been a nice night, but you wouldn't have gotten to get a fist bump from Chuck Liddell.
From Chuck Liddell, right?
And then I think the second point is in the question of if you have the opportunity to get gas on Harry Hines or drive as far away as possible.
I think we made the right decision.
I think based off of the end result, where you got gas and you got the opportunity to meet someone nice and give them some encouragement.
Yeah.
As opposed to what could have happened on Harry Hines.
Oh, no joke.
I think that's a good point.
I do really love how
don't ever get gas on Harry Hines. Run out driving away.
I do love how every time we say Harry Hines, if you're watching on Facebook with captions, it spells it like Heinz ketchup.
Oh yeah,
yeah.
No, Harry Hines Boulevard,
Hines
in Dallas.
Yeah, Boulevard.
Go Google it.
Yep.
just put Harry Hines Boulevard, cops, and search it.
I'm watching it. It's not fixing it at all. Yeah. So.
Heinz ketchup.
Yeah, all in all.
Brought to you by Harry Hines
all
ketchup.
All in all, great night. So that gets us, though, to this week's Topic of the Week, which Topic of the Week is a segment that we just made up right now as you heard me say those words.
I'm rolling with it.
Favorite Christmas movie? That is today's poll question, is what is the best Christmas movie? Now, there are 4 options. You can include a fifth. We'll look at the poll here in a second. Danley, what are your top 3 Christmas movies?
Top 3.
Yes, top 3 Christmas
I know
movies.
my number 1. I'll start there because I'm not sure of the other 2.
Okay.
Probably the other 2. Let's do. Yeah, I'll start with the top 1. Top 1 of all time is the Muppet Christmas Carol.
Okay.
It's got my favorite things in the world: the Muppets singing Christmas, Michael Caine.
Yeah.
It makes for the most amount possible of Christmas spirit in one. What is it, 90 minutes?
Yeah, it is 87 minutes.
Oh my gosh, it's 90 minutes.
87.
So round it up, 3 minutes.
Okay, yeah, we'll round it up for 3 minutes. Go ahead.
Love that one.
Yeah, Muppet's Christmas Carol's great.
What's your favorite?
Charlie Brown Christmas, followed by the Muppet's Christmas Carol. Muppet's Christmas Carol is number 2 for me. And the reason is because the music in Charlie Brown Christmas is so good. Not that the sing-alongs in the Muppet Christmas Carol aren't great.
You're good. I'm not arguing.
But the music in the Charlie Brown Christmas by the jazz trio that did all the music for all the Charlie Brown stuff is so otherworldly whenever you actually sit down and start trying to play the music. The key changes, the way that they move in and out of the improv section to the written sections, it's unbelievable. And having been tasked probably about 12 years ago whenever I was in Canada, we did a Christmas
Jose Fuego?
Yeah. No, when we did wow, that's a blast from the past. When we did our Christmas play, it was a live action Charlie Brown thing, and I had to play bass for the Charlie Brown Christmas. And the music, whenever they gave it to us, we got the actual score of what was played, and then we got the improv lead charts, and both of them were unbelievably difficult to pull off. And I just hope that we did it justice. We did not do note for note what they did, but I hope that we did it justice because it's beautiful music, really, really great story.
I mean, it's a classic.
Yeah, and Linus saying that the glory of the Lord shone all around them, and they were sore afraid. It's one of my favorite parts of any movie.
Yeah,
so.
No, it's very classic.
Yeah,
It's iconic. The Christmas tree, you can pick that out anywhere you go.
Yeah.
That's the Charlie Brown Christmas tree, the little thing that's barely hanging over 2 pieces of wood it's standing on.
Yeah,
and 1 red ball, right?
One red ball ornament.
No, that's great. I think the other 2 are probably A Christmas Story.
Okay.
And The Nightmare Before Christmas, which I think is a Christmas movie.
Okay, so see, I'm on the fence. There are 3 movies that I put into this category of are they or aren't they Christmas movies. Ironically enough, coincidentally enough, 2 of them are by Tim Burton.
Batman Returns.
Batman Returns being one. A Christmas Story, Nightmare Before Christmas being the other. I count that more as a Halloween movie than a Christmas movie.
It's kind of both,
but
for sure,
it takes place during both seasons. It starts with Halloween, it ends with Halloween, but the story itself revolves around Christmas.
And Jack Skellington learning at least the spirit of Christmas.
Yeah, Sandy Claus.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I mean, he goes through that journey of Sandy Claus and thinking he's a monster and all that, but that's the way his mind is, and he has to learn the spirit of Christmas, which
is very cool.
Makes it a Christmas movie.
Yeah.
It's got great music.
So Nightmare Before Christmas is number 3 for you.
I think so.
All right, where does Christmas Vacation rank for you?
That's a freaking hilarious movie.
It's got its moments.
I don't know that it's like in my favorite, these top 3. I don't know. Maybe it's 4.
I will tell you
it is that unbelievable. But Chevy Chase is freaking brilliant in it.
So we did this.
Drive down the desert, leave you for dead.
Yeah, we had this RV trip that we took with my parents, where we drove from.
Full.
Yeah, where we drove from Dallas to California to my cousin's wedding. And came back, and every time we had to drain like the black water and the gray water, all I could think of
you have to
was Randy Quaid. Just every
cousin,
time.
What's his name? Cousin Ed. Cousin Ed.
Yeah.
I think that's wrong. But
who cares?
But yeah, it's Randy Quaid.
I said that Lewis, on another podcast that we do, I said that Lewis Carroll wrote A Christmas Carol instead of that it was Charles Dickens. But whatever.
Yeah.
Okay, so that's in there.
That's probably my favorite.
Have you ever seen It's a Wonderful Life?
Oh yeah, of course.
Thoughts?
It's a great movie. It's a classic. I don't watch it every year.
So I think it's kind of...
Same thing with like My Fair Lady. It's a great movie. You should see it.
Never seen it.
You probably should see it at some point in your life. And
so My Fair Lady, should I watch it before or after I've seen Time Bandits?
You should watch Time Bandits first.
Time Bandits first. Okay, so
Who recommended that?
Here's you and your dad.
There was someone else.
And Tiffany Vollmer.
Tiffany Vollmer.
Yeah, the voice of Bulma from Dragon Ball Z.
Yeah.
So It's a Wonderful Life seems to me very derivative of A Christmas Carol.
Yeah. I mean, he sees what his life would be like, and at least
what everybody else's lives would be like, right?
Yeah, if he was removed from it,
right?
Which is kind of what Scrooge goes through.
Yeah, but Scrooge goes through him.
It's more of the consequences of his actions,
right? Yeah,
and inaction.
Yeah, he's seeing what everybody's life is like without him being a part of it, because he's dead, and because everybody's excited that he's dead. Yeah,
I don't think I can separate the Christmas Carol from the Muppets Christmas Carol.
I don't think I can either.
I think that's the version.
Right, because I'm trying to talk about
and all you hear
like
is the
he's
songs.
Dead, right? And it's
the wrath of many are the one that they call Scrooge.
Or the pigs that are around talking about like
let's get lunch.
How great it is that he's dead, and then the scene with the spider.
Are you going? Is there going to be food?
Of course. So
the spider. Would you bring me?
Yeah, and they're all talking about the things that they
blankets and all the stuff
and
from
his
Scrooge's,
drapes and stuff from his bedroom. But how ecstatic they are that Scrooge is dead. The ghost of Christmas
Let's talk
Present,
about the ghosts.
Right? Okay, so rank the ghosts.
In terms of what? Cool.
Yeah, rank the ghosts.
Creepy.
What are your 4?
Okay, let's do creepy.
Okay.
The Ghost of Christmas Past, the baby, creepiest.
Okay.
Then Future, the tall, deaf. Then Ghost of Christmas Present, who is delightful.
Okay, and then so you would put the Marley Brothers as 4th. They're the worst ghosts.
I didn't say that. I said creepy. The Marley Brothers, which in the original Dickens there was one Marley. Jacob Marley was dead as a doornail.
Yeah, and in this one it's Jacob and Robert.
Yeah,
yeah,
which was great because they got to incorporate the
Jake and Bob Marley. The old guys,
the hecklers. That's what they're called.
Yeah. But I just love that they named the other Marley Bob Marley. I thought that was great.
I have never put that together until now.
Yeah,
that's great.
It's Jim Henson. I think it's his little brother who directed it.
So when I think of the ghosts, I don't think of Robert Marley.
Right. But if we're talking about the Muppet Christmas Carol,
they're the funniest.
Now rank the ghosts.
They're the
1
funniest.
to 4.
Their song is great.
Okay, so are you putting them at the top, or are you saying they're the worst?
They're probably the top because they're very funny.
Okay, wrong. The Ghost of Christmas Present is the first one.
Okay. I mean, he's great. And
cool.
His song is great.
Come and know me
jolly.
better, man.
I want to go give him a hug.
And he dies.
He dies.
He's
he's there
the
for one
only
day.
ghost that dies.
Yeah.
Which is weird. Spirit, what's happening?
Yeah, and Michael Caine is Scrooge. Come on.
Yeah, Michael Caine's
You
brilliant.
can't get better.
Okay,
if you haven't
so-
seen a Muppet Christmas Carol, go watch it this holiday season and tell us if we're wrong, because we're not.
Yeah, we're not wrong. But we are...
We are off air.
We are done with this. So, hey, everybody, thanks for watching The Reverend and the Reprobate live at 5. We did a half hour today. It's pretty good. We learned about Danley's...
Look, if you bring up the Muppets, I'm going to talk about the Muppets.
We learned about Danley's frostbite fist bump he got from Chuck Liddell vicariously as Chuck Liddell fist bumped
story.
me.
That's the story.
It burned
now.
Danley's hand. We're such a symbiotic relationship. That's
Sitting
what
up my
happened.
suite, went,
We learned about our amazing night. And this week on the Rev and Rep podcast, we are joined with the brilliant Mike Reiner.
Yeah, our boy.
Mike Reiner, who comes to talk to us about his first audiobook experience, reading the book The Accommodation, written by Jim Schutz, about the history of racism in Dallas and really the early to late 20th century. So very, very cool, very insightful book. One that got panned because people didn't want the history of Dallas. Yeah, getting out there. Jim Schutz does an awesome job. Mike read the audiobook for that. He talks to us a little bit about that. And then we make Mike read some excerpts from some of our favorite books just to see how he's doing with his audiobook chops. So make sure that you check that out. Happy holidays, everybody. Y'all have good. Give. We'll see you next Tuesday.
Expo.